How you doing, Kenny? Hood Rubino, Devil's Digest. You were very candid in your post-game remarks, saying that you need to put your players in better situations. As you dissected the film yesterday, did you see any running theme that could lead you to a solution for that?
To be honest, no. It was pretty. What we saw mid-game and on the field was very, very accurate on most of the plays to what we saw on the film. So it was very, very accurate, similar. Are there a few things that you'd like to have back? Yes. But to say there'd be a drastic difference, probably not.
Kenny, Chris Cartman, son of a source. Is there any update on Emmett Boley, Glass, Briggs, and where are you at with the offensive line when Max Ihanacore is like your 9th or 10th guy going into a season?
Yeah, obviously that position has been decimated with injuries. Unfortunately, some contact, some non-contact, some running in the offseason, so a variety of different reasons. Emmett's going to be out for the season, so unfortunate for him. What a great person, what a great worker. What he did with his body this offseason and getting into shape was incredible. I'm sure you guys are there at practice. The strides he made were awesome. When it comes to the other guys, those guys as of now are still questionable. Ben Coleman is out as well, but the other guys are questionable, and we'll see how it goes as the season or as this game progresses. But that's obviously a challenge, and we got to find ways to adapt and change what we do offensively to put our guys in best situations to succeed again. So that may be a little bit different, looking offense that, I've done in the past, just to utilize our players to the best of their ability.
And then at quarterback, is there an update on Drew Pine for this week and evaluating Rashad Pine and what you're talking about there with your offensive line and the calculus of all of these things? Does that evolve any perspective on quarterback?
Yeah, obviously running the ball is essential to having a vertical play action game. So you need to have horses up front to be able to run the football. Running the ball brings safeties down, like you saw in the first half. Safeties create vertical one-on-ones, which obviously all fit into a style of play. If you can't run the ball at the highest level you would like, then obviously you're going to have to tweak and adapt different ways to be productive on first and second down in order to stay out of the third and longs, or you have to get back into that same scenario. So Drew, to answer your first question, he should be good for this week. Not 100% right now. We should know later this afternoon, but he should be healthy this week from that standpoint. So we'll see kind of what the game plan and what everything goes from there.
So does that mean that you're going to evaluate and make a decision after looking at things?
In terms of quarterback play, yeah, I mean, Jaden has done such a phenomenal job. I mean, if you watch him play the football games, he has 1 turnover in 2 games. He steps up in the pocket, gets hit in the face, and delivers throws. The growth he's made in those 2 games are incredible, absolutely incredible. So I really could not be more pleased with how he's played. I think, like I said, our staff and we've got to be able to adapt to the situation we're in at other positions, adapt, change, and be creative. But I've been so pleased with how Jaden's played. There's no doubt his future is extremely, extremely, extremely bright.
Hey, Coach, Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. Could you share what the injury was for Emmett?
I don't want to get into specifics, but it wasn't fun. It was a lower leg injury, and it wasn't fun. But he'll be back 3 to 5 months, 4 to 5 months, 4 to 6 months, somewhere in there. We should be able to get him back.
And then with Fresno State coming to town, Mikey Keene, a local product. I know you were recruiting the area back when he was in high school. Did you have much interaction with him or awareness of him when he was playing at Chandler?
Oh, I knew exactly who it was. It was actually one of my good buddies, Alex Golish, who's now the head coach of South Florida, went from Iowa State to UCF at the time. And he reached out about different quarterbacks to sign. And I said, there's this kid, Mikey Keene, who's a heck of a player out here. And if you're looking for one, this guy fits what you guys do, in my opinion. So he came out here and he signed him. And I think he is an incredible, accurate, smart. I remember recruiting him. He had over a 4.0 GPA. Watching him throw live, he's super, super accurate. So you see that play style on Saturdays. You see him be accurate. You see him be decisive. So I know he'll be very excited to come back home, come back here and play in front of, friends and family. So we're going to get the best of him in this week's game.
Hey, Coach. A lot of your players after the game on Saturday said, it wasn't a loss, it was a lesson. How do you think the team has responded now 2 days after the first loss of the season?
Yeah, we're going back to work. That's always the correct answer is you just go back, you live, you learn, you get better. We show things on the board in terms of things we can improve on. What's your favorite mistake, right? I show my mistakes. I think it's really important for people to know nobody's perfect, coaches included. We're all in this together. And I show my mistakes, I show our staff's mistakes, I show their mistakes, and I show how we can get better. And it's all about taking ownership. It's extreme ownership. You should never point the finger at somebody else, because if something is going wrong, right, you should look at what you could have done to make it better. It doesn't matter what that is. We should always look at what we can do individually to have fixed the problem. Even if you don't feel like it's your problem, find a way to make it your problem, find a way to find a solution. And that's really the challenge for us is extreme ownership and get back to work and move along.
Hey, Coach. Sean Brennan, WCSN. You're going up against a Fresno State team that loves to pass the ball. I think they're top 15 in the country in passing attempts. What have you seen from that offense as a whole in these past 2 games? Yeah,
quick passing game, like you just described. So I think it fits to their quarterback skill set. I know their head coach has been throwing the ball successfully for a long time. And you can tell that their quarterback and the coordinator and the head coach are all on the same page and the confidence he plays with. And compare that with his intelligence at the quarterback position. He gets the ball out quick, doesn't take too many negatives. So that'll be the challenge this week is can we get to him or get him rattled to get him off his spot?
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. For the second straight week, obviously the second half was an issue. Have you thought about anything you might do different or something that you guys can implement that might change the fortunes there?
Yeah, in the past, we've saved some of our top calls for the second half and kind of held a series. Not all the time, but sometimes when I've been on teams that have just struggled getting out fast in the second half. So maybe we'll save a series that we really like that we would carry in the first half, or maybe the third series of the game. We kind of know this formation or this structure. Maybe we'll save that for the second half so we kind of know and have scripted out what we're going to as long as they're in their base plan and nothing shocked us. Harder to do that when you're early in a season because you haven't seen everything they've shown. So there's a lot more outliers. So you don't want to hold something, right, because you don't know exactly what you're going to get like you do as the season progresses. But that could be something that we get to more. And then at the end of the day, we moved the ball that first drive of the second half. We got stopped on the 3rd and 1 and a 4th and 1. And, you got to convert a 3rd and 1 and a 4th and 1. And I think if we convert that drive, the game's different. But so I think that was really the key factor of opening up that second half. And then we just got to not get as affected when we don't have that success to start the second half. I preach the middle 8 so much. I think sometimes when we don't have the success coming out of halftime to win the middle 8, that sometimes the emotion behind it deflates, and we got to do a better job responding when that deflation happens.
Oh, sorry, Coach.
All good.
Little confusion back here. What was your favorite mistake from Saturday?
My favorite mistake for me was there was a time, 3rd and 6, second half. I'm not calling the plays. Coach Baldwin is. I think he's doing a good job. And I wanted to throw a bubble. I saw it. I liked it. Well, my mind said the wrong word. And because I'm the head coach, they ran it. So we wasted a play on 3rd down. Right, and that was 100% my fault. We had Jalen Conyers and our running back try to switch sides of the field, and we snapped the ball with 2 seconds left, and it was 100% on me because my mic is down, and I'm yelling bubble, 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 and that's potentially a play for us, and then everything changes, and it's 100% my fault. So wasting a drive on me, I got to do better. So I got to put my mic up and kind of be quiet at times.
Kenny, yeah, your defense was great against the run for most of the game. What were some of the factors that you think happened late beyond just maybe getting tired, and any other things that stood out about the defensive performance?
Yeah, I thought the defense played hard, man. I think our football team's playing hard. I think if you watch us play, the effort is high, and the detail of not getting 12 penalties, not jumping off sides is there. Right, we just got to learn how to win now. And I think the defense is playing winning football right now. I think the offense is close. We're playing a half of winning football, and we're playing plays of winning football. We just got to be more consistent. But I love the fact that the defense was aggressive. They attacked. They got after the quarterback. The communication was significantly better. You didn't see free guys in the back end open up in some of the exotic packages. And then in the second half, I think we just got a little tired. When you're not having sustained drives offensively, and they have more plays in the second half, and they can have those sustained drives. The depth that we're trying to achieve there could help that. We're not there yet, so we got to be able to get off the field on earlier in drives. That way we don't have those long sustained drives. And I think if we clean that up offensively, sustain a little bit more drives, and then defensively, a couple times we turned down some hits that we didn't have to. I think the guys know it. If we don't turn down those hits, and we try to keep them off the field a little bit better, I think they'll do a phenomenal job.
I know that you said in your post game about the pregame conversation you had with Mike Gundy, which basically the underlying thing was trust the process. Is that easier said than done sometimes? Especially when you come after a loss, or it's absolutely imperative not to try to reinvent the wheel, especially this early in the season?
Yeah, the process is not the X's and the O's. The process is not any of the game plan or the play calls or who plays what. The process is the standard and how you operate. And I think that's what he meant by that was don't trust your schemes. I mean, that's a guy who's adapted his schemes better than anybody in the country over his time. The process is the standards that are set for the effort, the standards that are set for the discipline in your program, the type of people you recruit, what you believe in that you want your program to look like in 3 to 4 years. Trust that process. Don't get frustrated when other people have success and you're working your process. Trust it and don't waver what got you here with what you believe in, right? But that doesn't mean you can't be creative and change schematically to fit your players, to put them in the best position to win now, because the ultimate goal is to win every game. The process does not defeat it's okay to lose. Let's not get those two things mixed up. I hate losing. I don't sleep. I was up till 4 a.m. I watched the game 3 times before I closed my eyes for 45 minutes. I don't sleep if I lose. I just can't do it. And so for us, it's two different things. I don't want people to think the process means we're not trying to win. We are trying to win. We're going to do everything we can to win football games. What he says is you can't sacrifice what you believe in to try to win. There's a difference there. And I think that's what I took from the conversation. So we're going to adapt some things. We're going to be a little bit different because right now what we're doing, we got to be a little bit different, especially with what we alluded to with some injuries. Up front, we got to be a little different. But at the same token, we're going to trust our process. We're going to adapt to the personnel we have. That's the high school coach in me. And we're going to press along and do whatever we can to win this football game.
We talked after the game about the 4th down plays and your tendency to be aggressive. Now that you've watched it back and now you do have the personnel injuries to consider, any thoughts about are you going to be that aggressive still moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, the only one that I could even question when looking back and even close from a statistical standpoint is the end of the first half, about 4 minutes left when we went for the 4th and 5 on the plus 45. That's the only one that you could argue, okay, with 4 minutes left, you could still punt. You could. We only had one timeout, though, because we had to burn them. You could then get the ball back in a decent territory if you get a 3 and out, and then try to kick a field goal to get the middle 8 1. But that's the one that, if in hindsight, 50-50, I think that's a coin flip one, which I think those maybe will be more conservative, but maybe will be more aggressive depending on the game plan. The 4th and 2 on the minus 33, yeah, we're going to go for that every time. I mean, when you're down 5 with that amount of time left, if you punt a team the ball, right, and they go on a drive that would have been the length of a drive that would score a touchdown, they're going to be able to run the clock out. So if you give them a short field and you get a stop, you're still down 8, which is still 1 score. Either way, you have to get your offense to put the ball in the end zone. So to punt them the ball, in which they were winning about 15 to 18 yards net punt transfer. So to punt them the ball with a 15 to 18 yards punt transfer, if you get a stop, right, the risk versus reward of getting the 4th and 2 is definitely there when the end result is you still have to put the ball in the end zone. So you actually may get an extra drive of it. Instead of punting them the ball, 1 drive left, if you convert, you get 2 drives to score a touchdown as long as your defense holds them to a field goal. So that's the thought process in that scenario. So we will consistently be aggressive there. Now, that same scenario and the game is a 6-point game, that's a different story because a field goal makes it a 2-possession game. We'll kick those. We'll punt those back. But in the current scenario where you can keep it 1 possession with a field goal, we'll be really, really aggressive.
Kenny, your punting was pretty mediocre in that game. Are there any other options or things that you might look at this week with that?
We just got to get him in a rhythm. I mean, you all see him in practice. The dude boots it. I mean, he boots it. So, I mean, we just got to make sure that he knows that we have confidence in him to punt the ball like he does in practice because he boots the thing. I mean, the dude kicks it 50 yards consistently, punts the thing 50 yards consistently in practice at a high rate. So he has the ability. He has it in him. Punting is like golfing. You get in and out of rhythms, right? Just got to get him back into rhythm, get his confidence back. But I have full confidence that we can flip the field when he's punting the ball to how he punts in practice.
Kenny, back to your story about the bubble. Has it been difficult for you at all as a former OC, kind of through 2 games when you watch the offense sputter there in the second half?
Yeah, of course. But, I mean, I have a huge say in what we're doing offensively throughout the week. So, I mean, it's just part of it. We've got to adapt and change. I've been here before in these scenarios. So, like I said, I think Jaden's been doing a phenomenal job completing the ball down the field. I mean, for being a young buck, I think he has over a 60% completion percentage, played 2 games, has 1 turnover-worthy play. He scrambled, extended plays. So I think he did a phenomenal job in the games. Yeah, does not moving the ball frustrating? Yes. Would it be frustrating if I was calling it or not calling it? Yes. Would it be frustrating if I was a fan? Yes. Right, so I think anybody who has any vested interest in the games are all in the same boat here. And we're going to be creative with being more productive because we have the skill guys that are good players. We've got to be a little bit different and adapt and change to get those guys the ball.
Kenny, you mentioned a moment ago your high school background. I'm just curious in what ways your experiences as a high school coach have most influenced the way you go about your job as a college coach.
Yeah, well, it's your birthday, isn't it?
That's the rumor.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you, Coach.
Congratulations. So, but no, I think just adapting to personnel. When you're in, when you coach high school, right, you kind of get the guys that you coach. And, you know, back when I coached high school, you get the guys that you coach and you coach them. And you have to adapt your schemes around them. And I think the best high school coaches were willing to adapt to their players and change the schemes. So I think, you know, when you have injuries, when you get people dinged up, when all these things happen, you have to adapt. And that may be not something you majored in practice. That may be not something you majored in fall camp because your team just made you're a drastically different team. So you have to maybe make some drastic changes to what you do in order to fit the drastic changes that your team is. So I think we just got to we can't be scared to change and to get out of our comfort zone, get out of my comfort zone of what I, you know, am used to. So I think that's the fun part about the high school coach background is, you know, I'm not scared to take risk. I'm not scared to make changes even if it makes me even a little uncomfortable, if it's the best thing for our guys.
Yeah, I got one more. Back to the quarterbacks. If there is a decision to be made, I mean, I ask it in relation to Jaden, but not necessarily specific to Jaden. In this current climate, I mean, when you go through that decision-making process, not only the confidence of a freshman, but kids seem to be so quick to hop into the portal if things don't go well. I mean, does that kind of factor in when you think of long-term?
Oh, this has nothing to do with the quarterback. I mean, this is a unit that we got to figure out. It's the best combination of a unit. I mean, what is that really expensive thing that people put on fries? I'm spacing on it. Yeah, truffle, right? My wife always talks about it, right? You know, truffle's elite, but you can't put truffle in everything. So you've got to find a way you may have an elite guy at some place, but the truffle may not make it better because the recipe is different now because you don't have these other ingredients. So even though you have truffle there, you may not be able to use it if all the other ingredients are here. So sorry for the weird comparison. We were just eating the other night, and that's when my wife talked about, you know, those fries are expensive because it's truffle, right? But I think that's the best way to explain offense and defense in football is everybody wants to treat it as it's one person or it's one this. No, it's a recipe of success. And one person may be so great at all these things, but because you don't have these other things at your arsenal now, this person may not be as successful with this current recipe. And you've got to be able to adapt to what you have and then be as successful as possible with it. So I think to answer your question is it's not just quarterback driven. Like I said, I think Jaden's done a phenomenal job. This is about what we have, what we're going into the game with, and how to make our guys and our team the most successful as possible.
You didn't want to play more than one quarterback going into the start of the season. You wanted to find one guy, settle on him. He's your leader, all that. Everything that you're saying now, does that lead to a change in perspective about the possibility of using more than one quarterback?
Yeah, we're not. I mean, the odds of us using multiple quarterbacks, I don't believe in using multiple quarterbacks unless there is an advantage of some sort to use multiple quarterbacks. Is there a chance that you could go into a game using multiple? Maybe, but I just think it gets people out of a rhythm. Like I forgot, somebody asked me the other day, and I'm like, yeah, any thought of making a move when you're in a quarterback in the middle of the game? Like, no, that was actually the last thing on my mind. We had 99 problems, but that ain't one. And I think that was my thought process. Now, for us moving forward, we have to look at our current personnel, our current roster, what puts our players in the best position to be successful this week, puts our players in the best position to be successful moving forward within the program. Perfect. Thank you.